There's something that happens when a woman decides to love you differently, not with words, not with her body, but with a silent act that most men overlook because they're too focused on what they can see, not what they can feel. It's that moment when she shifts from wanting your attention to wanting your peace, when she starts doing things that don't make noise, but carry meaning. And most men don't even notice. They think she's changing, they think she's pulling away. But in reality, she's doing something that reveals the deepest layers of her heart, something men rarely understand until it's too late. See, men often think women speak through emotion, but women speak through action. Every little thing she does, how she folds your shirt, how she stops arguing, how she quietly watches instead of correcting. Those are not random habits. Those are signals. She's showing you where she stands, not through confrontation, but through transformation. And tonight, I want to open your eyes to something most men never see, because when a woman does this act, it's not about dominance or weakness or silence. It's about her final expression of truth. Her truth lets go deep. A woman's silence is never hollow. It's full of everything she has already said, everything you didn't listen to, and everything she has now accepted. Men often confuse her calm with compliance, but it's not that. Her quietness is her new language. It's where she stops trying to be heard and starts deciding what to hold on to, or what to let go of. When she goes quiet, she's already spoken her final truth inside her mind. That silence, it's not distance, it's clarity. Men panic when a woman starts moving independently. They think she's detaching, but it's not detachment, it's rediscovery. She's remembering who she was before the noise, before the arguments, before the exhaustion. When she books a solo trip, goes for dinner by herself, or starts focusing on her dreams again, she's not escaping you. She's returning to her own center. And if you loved her right, she would have invited you into that space. But most men never notice when she starts choosing solitude over saving the connection. There's a point where every woman realizes that fighting to be understood is draining her more than being misunderstood. When she stops debating, it's not because she has nothing left to say. It's because she finally understands that her energy deserves protection. Men think the silence after an argument means they've won. But in truth, her silence means she's decided to stop fighting for a place she's no longer valued in. There's a stage in every relationship where a woman gives not to receive, but to see who you become when you're full, to see if you'll give back when you have enough. Men often mistake her giving nature for endless devotion, but sometimes it's her way of measuring the weight of your heart. Because every time she loves you harder when you deserve it less, she's watching to see if you notice. If you don't, she learns her worth in your absence of gratitude. Every woman reaches a point where she realizes that giving her energy to the wrong place is more painful than walking away. So she begins to guard her laughter, her softness, her time, not to punish, not to manipulate, but to preserve the sacred parts of herself. The parts she once offered freely. When she stops explaining herself, stops reaching out, stops initiating, understand this, she's not cold. She's careful now. There's a love that doesn't ask to be seen. It just wants to bless you silently. When a woman still prays for your peace after you've broken hers, that's the highest form of emotional maturity. Men don't often see this. They think the story ends when she leaves, but a woman's love echoes. Even when she walks away, her energy lingers. In your songs, in your silence, in the way no one else can quite love you like she did. That prayer is her goodbye, wrapped in grace. So men, when a woman starts doing these things, don't misread her. Don't call her distant, moody, or complicated. Look deeper, because she's not just doing something, she's becoming something. And if you can recognize that transformation before it turns into detachment, you won't just save your relationship, you'll understand love on its truest level. Because when a woman starts to act differently, she's not trying to hurt you. She's trying to heal herself. And if you're wise enough to see it, you'll realize she's showing you the most honest act of love you'll ever receive. The act of letting go without hatred. The act that men rarely understand until it's already over. When she goes quiet, she's not empty. She's full of understanding. A woman's silence isn't a void, it's a vessel. It carries everything she's tried to express, everything she's been patient about, and everything she's finally accepted. When a woman stops talking, it doesn't mean she has nothing to say. It means she's said enough. It means her energy has shifted from expression to observation, from trying to connect to trying to comprehend. She's not giving you the silent treatment out of spite. She's giving herself the gift of peace after too much noise. Silence, for her, becomes a sacred space where she can hear her own voice again, the one she silenced for the sake of being understood. Men often confuse this quiet with emotional withdrawal, as if she has lost interest or passion. But the truth is, her quiet is her new form of strength. It's the place she retreats to when words no longer feel safe, when explanations have become exhausting, and when the weight of repeating herself has turned love into labor. She's not ignoring you, she's realigning herself. Every time she chooses not to respond, it's not indifference. It's an internal conversation where she measures the cost of staying loud in a world that doesn't listen. Her silence is not absence, it's wisdom manifesting in stillness. In that quiet, she's seeing things she once overlooked. She's noticing patterns, replaying moments, connecting dots you didn't even know existed. She's not detached. She's deeply aware. When she sits in silence, she's studying how she feels in your presence, whether it feels peaceful or heavy, whether her love is being nourished or drained. It's not that she doesn't care anymore. It's that she's learning how to care for herself differently. The quiet is her pause before a decision, a soft boundary forming between who she has been and who she refuses to become again. Men often think silence means distance, but often it means discernment. She's figuring out what still deserves her words, what still deserves her energy. And if you listen carefully, her silence is speaking. It's saying, I can't keep fighting for clarity when I'm the only one trying to understand. It's saying, I've realized that peace costs less than explanation. It's saying, I love you, but I love myself enough to stop losing myself in the noise. When she goes quiet, she's not shutting you out, she's finding her way back to herself, and that journey requires stillness. There's a kind of power in a woman's silence that many men underestimate. It's not weakness, it's not surrender. It's recalibration. It's the sound of her gathering the fragments of herself that she scattered in trying to hold everything together. It's the moment she reclaims her energy from arguments that led nowhere and emotions that were dismissed. Her quiet is not a punishment, it's protection. It's her way of saying, I no longer need to prove my point to be at peace. She's letting go of the need to be right and embracing the need to be whole. And if you pay attention, her silence will teach you more than her words ever could. It will reveal how much she's felt. Angels, how emming she's forgoing forgive iel and war in the unseen realm, and how much she's grown. When she goes quiet, it's not because she has stopped loving. It's because she's choosing to love herself enough to stop bleeding for someone who won't notice the wound. Her understanding is not empty. It's overflowing with realization, with acceptance, with truth. She has simply reached the point where her spirit values peace more than persuasion. That quiet isn't the end of her emotion, it's the evolution of it. And if you listen with your heart instead of your ego, you'll realize that her silence is not a wall, it's a mirror. It's reflecting everything she now understands about you, about love, and about herself. When she starts doing things alone, she's not rejecting you, she's reclaiming herself. There comes a point in a woman's life when she realizes that her world has grown too small, that she has folded herself too many times to fit inside the spaces built around someone else's comfort. She begins to feel a quiet ache, a whisper from within that says, "Remember me." That whisper isn't rebellion, it's resurrection. It's the sound of her soul stirring after being silent for too long. When she starts going for walks alone, when she enjoys her coffee without needing company, when she starts making plans that don't revolve around your availability, she's not trying to escape you, she's simply trying to find herself again beyond the borders of being someone's partner, someone's peace, someone's constant. Men often misread this as distance. They assume her independence is rejection, when in truth it's reconnection. It's her turning inward to restore what was neglected, because love, if not balanced, can consume a woman. She can give so much that she forgets the sound of her own laughter when no one's watching, the rhythm of her thoughts when they don't need to please anyone. So when she starts doing things alone, it's not a threat, it's therapy. It's her soul remembering that solitude doesn't mean loneliness, it means strength. In those moments alone, she's not imagining life without you. She's remembering what life feels like with her. She's revisiting the pieces of herself that got quiet while she was tending to everyone else's noise. The books she stopped reading, the passions she put aside, the dreams she left in the corner while she built someone else's. She's not pulling away because she doesn't care. She's pulling inward because she finally does care for her own heart, her own peace, her own presence. The time she spends alone is sacred. It's where she refills what the world, and sometimes love, has drained from her. And if you truly see her, you'll realize her independence isn't competition, it's completion. She's not rejecting you when she walks alone through the park, or goes out with her thoughts as her only company. She's reminding herself that she's whole, not half, that her worth doesn't depend on being needed, that her identity doesn't vanish when she stops being someone's comfort zone. She's learning to breathe again without asking for permission. She's not leaving you behind, she's taking herself along this time. There's something beautiful about a woman who moves alone, but not in bitterness. She walks lighter because she's no longer weighed down by the need to be validated. She smiles deeper because her joy now comes from her own spirit. And yet, that same independence can scare men who are used to a woman's world orbiting around theirs. But she's not trying to make a point. She's reclaiming her balance. She knows that love without individuality becomes dependency, and dependency eventually breeds resentment. So she's saving your relationship by saving herself first. The truth is, when she starts doing things alone, she's actually giving you a chance to love her differently. To love her not as someone who fills your space, but as someone who owns hers. To see her as a partner, not a possession. She's teaching you that togetherness doesn't mean constant closeness, that intimacy sometimes grows in distance, that love isn't about holding on too tightly. It's about holding each other freely. So don't fear her solitude. Don't question her need to step away. Because in that space, she's rebuilding her confidence, her clarity, her calm. She's finding her rhythm again. And when she returns, she doesn't come back smaller. She comes back expansive, more grounded, more alive, more herself. And if you're wise enough to understand that her time alone is not separation but self-repair, you'll realize she's not walking away from you at all. She's walking toward the woman you fell in love with, the one who was always there, waiting to be remembered. When she stops arguing, she's not submitting, she's surrendering the battle for peace. There's a moment in every relationship where a woman realizes that raising her voice doesn't raise understanding. She learns that no matter how carefully she explains, how passionately she pleads, or how clearly she speaks, some ears are not ready to listen. And in that realization, something inside her softens, but not out of weakness. It's the softening that comes from exhaustion, from emotional maturity, from choosing peace over proving a point. When she stops arguing, she's not giving up. She's letting go of the belief that everything has to be fixed with words. At first, her silence might feel confusing. You might notice that she doesn't respond like she used to. She doesn't rush to defend herself, doesn't try to clarify every misunderstanding. She just looks at you quietly, maybe even smiles, and walks away. That's not indifference, it's self-preservation. It's her spirit saying, "I've fought enough battles that led nowhere." She's not choosing silence because she's scared. She's choosing it because she's tired of repeating herself to someone who listens only to reply. She's not suppressing her truth. She's protecting it from being twisted, dismissed, or ignored. There's a profound kind of strength in that surrender. It's the strength that comes when a woman realizes that peace is not found in winning arguments. It's found in walking away from them. Her silence is her new language. It's her way of saying, "I value my inner calm more than your need to be right." She doesn't need the last word anymore because she's found something far more valuable, the ability to detach from chaos. That's not submission, that's evolution. She's no longer controlled by the need to be understood because she finally understands herself. Men often mistake that silence for loss of interest, but it's the opposite. It's a sign that she has reached a level of emotional intelligence that can't be baited by conflict. It's a shift from fighting for the relationship to fighting for her sanity. When she stops arguing, she's not saying, "You're right." She's saying, "This no longer deserves my energy." Because deep down, she knows that no love can survive if it's always built on the battlefield of egos. Sometimes choosing not to fight is the loudest form of truth a woman can speak. In that quiet, she's reflecting. She's seeing how much of herself she's lost in trying to be heard. She's counting the times she cried after arguments that changed nothing. She's remembering the nights when words became weapons instead of bridges, and now she's deciding that her peace is worth more than being right. She knows that every time she tries to prove her point to someone unwilling to see it, she trades a piece of her softness for stress. And she's no longer willing to pay that price. When she stops arguing, she starts healing. She shifts her focus from fixing the relationship to fixing herself. She learns that silence is not emptiness, it's clarity. It gives her room to breathe, to think, to rediscover her boundaries. It's in that stillness that she remembers her worth, her power, her peace, and from that place she no longer needs to shout to be heard. She only needs to live in alignment with her truth. So when a woman stops arguing with you, don't assume she's given up on the love. Sometimes she's simply given up on the war. She's surrendered not to you, but to her own serenity. And that kind of surrender isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Because she's finally learned that the loudest peace often comes after the quietest goodbye. When she gives more, it's not always love, sometimes it's a test. There's a moment in a woman's heart when she decides to give beyond reason, not because she's naive, but because she's measuring the space between her generosity and your gratitude. When she loves deeply, she doesn't just offer affection, she offers effort, patience,